can't move. Hi everyone. As you can see from the title and from the fact that it looks like I'm actually sitting in a jungle right now, today I'm going to be doing a plant tour and showing you all of the plants that I have. Woo! I don't think anybody actually requested this. I think maybe a couple people did on Instagram because I like post updates on my story about my plants and new leaves and stuff. But I have quite a big collection now, so I thought that I would just show you. But before I start showing you my collection, this isn't leading into a sponsorship, by the way. This is I just have something really cool to tell you. So please stick around and listen because I think you're going to want to hear this. I am currently giving one of you the chance to win this canvas. As you all know, I'm a mandala artist, so I hand painted this, and there's actually a bit of a backstory to this, but keep watching so you can find out how to enter. So the reason I'm doing this is to raise money for my beautiful Tegan. She's been on my YouTube channel a few times now. I will link one of our videos in one of these corners. As a lot of you know, Tegan has very severe epilepsy, which requires cannabis oil, which they have to get privately because the NHS refused to prescribe it for her. This oil literally keeps Tegan alive. When she is out of oil, she ends up in hospital, intensive care, often placed in a medically induced coma just to try and stop her from seizing. This cannabis oil is not just any that you can buy off Amazon. It is a very specialist one. It's, you know, the hard stuff, and it costs almost £2,000 per month. As you can imagine, for Tegan's mum, finding this money every single month is extremely difficult, so I'm hoping that we can help them out. So I made this Snapchat notification, shut up. So I made this. As you can see, it's very purple. This is for epilepsy awareness. The winner will be announced on the 1st of May, so you've still got a few more weeks, don't worry, but get it in while you can. Yeah, I'm giving you the chance to win this. This is the first ever competition that I've done, so I'm really excited. But how to enter, there's two options that you can enter depending on which is easiest for you. You can either send £5 to the email address via PayPal, which I'll put on the screen right here. Well, hello. This goes straight to Tegan's mum. Help! And once you've sent £5, that is your entry done. You don't need to do anything else. We are going to assign everyone a number based on the order that the donations come in, and the winner will be random number generated. Or if you don't have PayPal, I have recently set up a Just Giving page because I had a few people telling me they don't have PayPal, and I was worried that this was going to stop the donations coming in because I really want to raise as much money for Tegan as possible. I'm still having a little bit of trouble with the Just Giving page, but I think by the time I've posted this, it should be totally fine. So I will leave the link to that in the description, and all you have to do is click on it, send in £5, and that's it. That's your entry done. I had a few people asking me, yes, you are welcome to send more than £5. I just ask that £5 is the minimum. Help! Of course, all of this money goes to Tegan, every single penny, and so people were wanting to send more than £5. Totally fine, £5, whatever. £5 is, you know, still your entry. It doesn't matter how much you send. You're more than welcome to send more to Tegan if you would like to. All I say is that be aware that sending a higher donation does not increase your chance of winning. It's not like bidding. This is all going to be completely randomly generated. We are just raising money for Tegan and giving someone a prize while doing so. I've never like raffled off one of my art pieces before, so like I said, this is really exciting for me. And I just want to raise as much money for my little sister as possible. But thank you for listening, and thank you so much if you do enter. So excited to think that one of you guys is going to win this. Help! Cut. Jesus. Help. But yeah, thank you for listening to that. Again, I will leave everything in the description that you need, but let's get on to the plant tour. So I think I'll start off with my bigger ones and then go down in size to the little ones. Should we start off with a really good one? So this, as I'm sure a lot of you will be able to tell if you know anything about plants, from this leaf especially. This is my monstera. I've had this for over 5 years now. It was tiny when I first got it. There is moss poles in because monsteras get extremely leggy and gangly, and they just kind of go off in all different directions, so these keep it upright. It's very difficult to make a monstera look tidy. They're quite messy plants. And it has been blessing me with so many new leaves recently. This one, which is the best leaf it's ever grown, literally just finished uncurling like 3 days ago, so this is a brand new leaf. Got amazing fenestrations. I'm really proud of this. I spent years aiming for the classic monstera leaf because all that I had for like 5 years was this, which is fine. It was a slow grower, but we finally reached the point where it's like properly thriving now. And then before this one, this leaf came up, which is another one with some great fenestrations, but this is its best one yet, so I'm pretty chuffed. This one lives on my windowsill. It gets as much light as possible. I don't know how I'm gonna get it so you guys can see. This is another new leaf that's going to come up as well. It's fully curled up at the moment, but I reckon in about a week we should have a brand new leaf. So that's my monstera. It's one of my favourites. And then this one behind here, oh, doesn't even fit on the screen, it's a tall boy, is my dragon tree. Oh, I'm going to get a pole for this one because this one is struggling to stay upright, so I'm going to get a pole for that one to keep it up. This one is fairly new. I haven't had it for that long. Hello. But it's doing alright. It's doing pretty well. I don't really have much to say about it because I haven't had it that long, so there hasn't really been any new growth or anything. But it's doing perfectly fine. This one lives just below my windowsill, so the leaves get plenty of indirect light. They don't get any direct sunlight. Just because it does make the leaves get like brown tips, for example. I think these were already there when I got it. But yeah, it seems quite happy. Don't really have much to say about it. This is my rubber plant. I had a bit of a mishap with this one when I first got it because this one is fairly new. I got this one and then I got the dragon tree, the spiky one that I've just shown you. Help! The leaves were burnt when I first got it. This bit was burnt all down here and I had to cut it off. So the leaves had some imperfections when I first bought it, like this burn here, and I can't do anything about that now. But I had to experiment with where it was happiest. So originally when I got this, it was sitting where my dragon tree sits now, which is below my windowsill. And as you guys can see, it did not like this. The places that weren't getting enough light, all of the leaves fell off. It had about 6 leaves down here that just fell off, and I feel really bad about that. So it's now been moved and it sits on my windowsill. It's a bit of a funny shape and I feel bad that I didn't like give it the best start to living with me, but it's doing okay now. I'm hoping to get it back to better health over time. And that is all of my main like really big tall ones done. I've got 3 big ones, several medium, and then a few small. So moving on to, we'll go on to the next tallest one, my beloved snake plant. So this is another one that I'm really proud of. This was actually a one that had been split off from the main plant, and I split it into 3 separate plants. So there's this one, there's another one down here which I'm going to show you in a second, and the other plant I gave to my mum and it sits in the den downstairs. When I originally split it off, it had 5 leaves. In such a short time it was already growing brand new leaves, and since then it has given me so many new leaves. This ridiculously tall one was once a baby. Brand new leaf since splitting it off. This tall one is also brand new, and this tall one. This one here is a more recent one, and we actually have a few more babies at the bottom as well coming through. You may hear with snake plants that people will say that they shouldn't be in really bright light and everything, but mine lives on my windowsill and it is thriving. It's one of my healthiest, happiest plants. I think I used to keep it in a darker space, but when I moved it onto my windowsill, it's just like blossomed. It's doing so well. And it's got my little badger in here as well, which I love. This plant has recently had a bit of a fly problem, which I'm still trying to sort out. This leaf was one of the like OG leaves, and it's been completely pushed out by all of the new ones. I can't believe this was a tiny baby like last year. It's mental. Snake plants are one of the easiest plants to look after, so if you're a beginner, I would highly recommend getting a snake plant. Because they originate from very sort of deserty areas, they do like to be kept quite dry. They don't like to be very wet, so you don't have to water it like really regularly. I think mine gets water maybe like once every 2 weeks, maybe a little bit less, but they do like to dry out because they're used to living in dry conditions in the wild. So this is one of my snake plants. This was kind of like the main one. And then this is the second plant that I split off. As you guys can see, it has very recently had a baby. Just about a week and a half ago, I noticed a tiny little bud, and it's growing so quickly. I honestly thought that this plant was like half dead, because for about a year it was just these two leaves. They would just sit here. It looked like absolutely nothing was happening. This one lives in a slightly shady area. It doesn't live on my windowsill, it lives just below it. I have like a little box shelf here, so it does get light, but it doesn't get like really bright light, but it still is very happy. Recently this one's going to grow really tall, and it will end up taller than these two, but you would not believe my happiness the day that I saw a tiny baby down here, because I thought this plant was like not even really alive. But yes, super happy. And the third plant that I split off downstairs in the den has also got about 3 new leaves. It's not quite as big as this one, but yeah, very successful split from the main plant, because it was very overcrowded. They all used to live in this pot, so if you can imagine like how busy and overcrowded it got, I split them off, and every single split from this plant has grown new leaves, and it's doing really well. So yeah, pretty chuffed with that, not gonna lie. My next sort of medium-sized plant, this one actually has a name. Only a couple of my plants have names, but this is Judy. I've had her for maybe like 3 or 4 years. Judy is a Rex begonia. They're kind of, you can get different types of begonias, but this one is known for the lovely deep red colour. She might need repotting, to be honest. She's grown quite tall, like from the base, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I've had her for quite a long time now, and she just kind of chills. She used to be really moody, and if I didn't water her for like a couple days, she would look dead, and then I'd water her, and then within like a few hours she'd spring back to life. But she's not as high maintenance as she used to be when I first got her. But yeah, she's doing okay. She's not the healthiest I've ever seen her look. I think she needs a bit of TLC, but she is doing okay. My next medium-sized plant, this is actually my most recent plant. I've only had it I haven't even had this one a week. This is called a banana plant. It doesn't grow bananas. Oh, we've actually got a new one coming in at the bottom there. Yeah, literally brand new. I love the look of it though. I don't know if you guys can tell, but my favourite type of plant is really leafy ones with big leaves. Stuff that looks really like jungly and rainforesty are my favourite, and I love the look of this one. This is another one that lives on my windowsill, because after doing some research I found out that it does quite like the bright light. So it's been living on my windowsill. It's brand new, don't really have much to say about it. I'm hoping that if I keep it nice and healthy, this leaf, which was already there when I got it obviously, should uncurl, and we should have a nice new one at the top. But we'll see, hopefully I can get it there. This plant was actually a surprise that my mum got me. I was having a really bad day, and she went to the shops and she came home with 2 plants, one for one of the rooms downstairs and one for me. Now that I think about it, that's how I got most of my plants. Like, I was like, oh, I'm having a bad day, I think I need to cheer myself up with a plant. And then that happened over and over again, and here we are. I don't really have much else to say about this one because it's so brand new, but my banana plant, I love it. Whee! Okay, moving on to the next medium-sized one. I'm a little bit embarrassed to show this one, I'm not gonna lie. This is Callie, my calathea. She is not doing good. I think she really struggled during the winter. We're just coming out of winter now. It's been spring for like a few weeks, but we haven't actually had any spring weather. And she has been struggling. She lost so many leaves. She used to be so lovely and full. I honestly don't know what happened. I didn't change my care at all. Her leaves are struggling as well. She's got some healthy ones, but I don't know what's been going on, but it makes me really sad. She used to be so lovely, and calatheas are known for being little shits and really difficult to look after, so I definitely wouldn't recommend one for a beginner plant parent. But she is a calathea rufibarba, and these have really soft leaves because they have very fine hairs covering all of the leaves, so it's very like velvety to touch. But I'm hoping that I can nurse her back to health because I'm really not happy with the way that she looks right now. Get well soon. My slightly smaller size now. This is also a very new one. This is my raindrop plant. You can see it gets its name because it has sort of like teardrop shaped leaves. The official name is a peperomia, but they're also called teardrop or raindrop plants. Help me, Jesus. This one again is fairly new. I don't think I've even had it, I might have had it a month, but I just thought like it's so unique looking. This one lives over there on a shelf above my bed. Again, my room is so tiny, so the light does come in quite well, so it still gets enough light, but I think after doing some research I must have found that it doesn't like bright light, so I think it's pretty perfect where it is. I haven't noticed any leaves drying or dropping, so far so good. Yeah, really like this one. Kisses! I realised I actually forgot one of my sort of tall and medium-sized plants because I hid it out the way and I forgot that it was there. This is my plant which is called the Bird of Paradise plant. My brother got this one for me for my birthday. I think it was my 22nd birthday, so I've had it 2 years, I think. I don't think it was my last birthday, I'm pretty sure. I think it was the one before. This plant is doing okay. As you can see, one of the leaves has burnt and split. I think this is fairly common for these leaves. You will find that with certain plants they all have different issues. So like with monstera plants, the leaves can go yellow if they get too much light. What's another one? Calatheas can get brown tips. It's just like something that you've got to look out for. It's really common. So some of the leaves have split, which I'm not too concerned about, but I don't like the brown here. Help! I did have it in a spot that was too dark, so it's now in a brighter spot. But it's obviously not doing as bad as I was worried that it was doing, because this leaf that hasn't fully come out yet is brand new. It's slow at uncurling, so I'm really trying to make sure that I can get it to fully come out. And we also have a brand new one right here which hasn't even started to uncurl yet. But yeah, this is called a Bird of Paradise plant. As you can kind of tell by the name, the Bird of Paradise plant is sort of like an exotic plant, so they really like high humidity, they like a lot of light, so this one lives on my windowsill. And I'm obviously not doing too bad because I really thought that I was struggling with it, but this new leaf has, you know, made me feel quite satisfied that it's not doing too bad. They can get quite big. Obviously my brother got me a one that is smaller. It's probably been split from a main plant, but I wanna take care of it and make it grow really big, hopefully. Yeah, that's my Bird of Paradise plant. I love the name as well. I think the name's so cool. He also bought this mug for it to go in as well, so I haven't put it in anything else since I got it. The thing with keeping plants is that you'll find that some don't survive, and that's totally okay. Like, it's just learning along the way. People think you can just get a plant and then like that's it, but a lot of them have very specific needs. So I've kind of learned the differences between all mine and what each one likes and where they're from and the sort of natural environment that you have to try and like mimic in your own home. But like, I'm still learning. Like, I'm really struggling with Callie, my calathea, to try and get her healthy again. But you just like, you learn along the way. Some plants are so much easier to look after. Like Snake plants can pretty much survive any environment. If you don't water them for ages, they don't mind because they like the dry. Some prefer to be like, have like wet soil all the time. But you know, years ago I used to have plants die all the time because I didn't do like proper research. I didn't put them in the best position in my room. I didn't give them correct water. I am going to talk about some of my plant care tips at the end of this video for anyone who's interested. I feel a bit silly doing this, like I feel like no one cares, but doing it anyway. Okay, moving on to my smaller ones. Oh, this is a sort of large small one, if you get me. This is my ox tongue plant. I've had this one for quite a long time. It was originally, it's been split up. It was originally a very large ox tongue plant. After the split, unfortunately, the mother did not survive. But this is one of its babies, which as you can see is quite big. It's doing quite well. And then here we have another baby one, and I've had this one for quite a long time. I haven't noticed much new growth with the baby especially, but I've had it like this for like over a year, so it's obviously fine. Some plants are just slow at growing, and that's okay. The reason it's got the name ox tongue is because it's known for its very, very rough leaves. I don't know if you can tell, but they are textured and very rough to the touch. Like a cat's tongue, you know, they're like sandpaper. This is a variety of succulents, so if you know anything about succulents, you'll know that majority of them like to be really, really dry. So my ox tongue plants pretty much have dry soil all of the time, and then I'll leave it for a good while, and then when I do give them a drink, I'll give them plenty to drink and then let them completely dry out again because that's how they like it. They don't like humidity, so to be honest, these guys just get left alone most of the time. Don't have to do much with them. They don't sit in a very bright spot because they don't like that either. They sit near my fish tank, but like I said, my window's right here, my fish tank is literally right there. My room's very small, so all my plants get the light that they require, which is handy, but also I wish my room was bigger so that I could have even more plants. And then last but not least, we have this little guy. I've actually forgotten the name of this type of plant. It does flower, but I split this off from the main plant, which was downstairs, and I put it in this lovely little what do you call this? It's almost like a disco ball effect, this little pot. I got this from a charity shop, and it's actually a tea light holder, but I thought like this would be such a good little plant pot. Yeah, I think I potted it maybe like 2-3 weeks ago, and it seems to be doing fine. They can actually grow really, really big. I don't know if mine will get to that point. I hope so. I don't have much faith in little plants like this, but we'll see how it goes. I would love to get it to a point where it flowers. That was like my end goal. I'm pretty sure the bird of paradise plant can flower as well, but maybe in like a couple years we'll be at that point. But yeah, this is my last one. This is one of my favorite pots. And yeah, that's it. That's my entire collection. I'm not exactly sure how many I've got now, but before I finish the video, I want to give you guys some tips because it feels a bit silly to show you all of my plants and the ones that are thriving and not give you any tips. So I'm going to give you some of my sort of do's and don'ts and must-haves when it comes to plants. Okay, so the first thing, which is really, really simple, is always research your plants. I try to research before I get a plant, so like if I have a plant in mind or one that I've seen that I like, then I'll do research first. But most of the time, especially when I get given plants as gifts, I obviously can't research it beforehand, so I'll get the plant, I'll do a lot of research about what it needs, what the watering like frequency, what light it needs, and then I can put it in a suitable spot in my room. Help! If you don't do any research or learn about your plants, it's unlikely that it will survive because you could be giving it the total opposite of what it needs. Overwatering is the most common like killer of houseplants, and it's almost like you're caring for it too much because some plants just prefer to be left alone. Snake plants and succulents especially like to be really, really dry. My next tip is to get yourself a moisture meter. I hate the name of it, it's awful. But essentially what this does is, essentially all you do is you pop it in all the way to the bottom, and it will say the lever will move whether it's dry, moist or wet. This one is bone dry, which is just how this plant likes it, so that's fine. I will be watering it in the next week or so probably. But this is an absolute game changer, because an absolute don't when it comes to plants is watering it while the soil is still wet. Overwatering can lead to things going really mushy. So for example, my ox tongue plant had more babies than this, and I tried to propagate some by putting them in water, which is like really normal. But these did not like it at all. They went completely mushy, completely fell apart. And so this is the only small baby that survived, because they just don't like the water, which I've learned now, obviously. So yeah, this is a game changer to knowing when your plants need water and when they're still fine for like another week or another 4 days or whatever. So I will leave the link to a moisture meter in my description. This is just from Amazon. You can get them really easily. My next thing is I have a little misting, what do you call it? Forgotten what you call it. My apologies. I've forgotten what these are called, like misting pumps? Oh, I didn't think it was going to come out that easily. While these are lovely to have, just be aware that majority of plants don't actually require misting. Certain ones that come from really humid environments. So my bird of paradise plants, these kind of require regular misting, but a lot of plants just don't need it. So I use this for my bird of paradise plant. My monstera, because these obviously originate from rainforests, so they get a lot of rainfall. Sometimes I just sit my rainforest, my monstera in the shower, and I'll literally just put the shower head on. It like mimics being in a rainforest, I guess. They're also good for just cleaning dusty leaves. So plants with a big surface area get really dusty leaves, so you have to keep wiping them down with a wet cloth. So feel free to get one of these, but most houseplants don't need it. They're nice to have, especially if you have like really tropical exotic plants. They will enjoy it, but like I would never mist my oxtongue or my snake plant, because it would not enjoy that. My next one is getting a little book like this. This I actually got from New Look like years ago. It's been on my windowsill, so it's gotten like washed out. But this little book has honestly been amazing for me. It's got so many different house plants in, and I've had multiple plants in this book before, so let's see if I can find one just from looking. So here we go. This is a Rex begonia. This is Judy. She sometimes has more green on the outside, and then sometimes she's all red. But yeah, this is really good for, so like for example, Judy is one of these plants that likes to have the soil wet like all the time. And it says that in here you can learn about where they originate, the light they need, the water they need. It's just a really good little book. It's got absolutely loads in here. I also have a cacti and succulent one, which I don't look in as much because I'm not a big succulent person, as you can tell. I prefer really big plants. Overall, succulents are easier to keep generally, so maybe this one would suit you better. I'll see if I can find these books online, and if I can, I'll leave them in the description. I think that's my main advice. I don't really have much more to say. Oh, I've just thought of a really big one. Water. People think that you can just give them water from the tap and like any old water, but actually you could be killing your plant without even realizing, and I didn't know this for years. Until doing a bit of research and watching plant YouTube channels and stuff like that. Help. So in case you don't know, the water that comes from our tap actually has low amounts of chlorine in, and chlorine is not suitable for plants. There's a few ways that you can work around this. You can collect rainwater, depending on where you live. If you don't get much rain, obviously it's not ideal. I do it occasionally. Being British, we do get a lot of rain. But actually what I do now is I water all of my plants with water from my fish tank, because my fish tank is treated, it's got loads of nutrients and vitamins in. It's obviously dechlorinated because fish can't be in chlorine either. Let me show you what you can get if you don't have a fish tank to water your tanks, because obviously it's quite like a niche thing, but let me show you what you can do. So I don't have the normal bottle which removes chlorine, but this is kind of a similar thing. This is fish tank treatment, like water treatment, but you can just use this in like a jug of water if you're watering your plants, and add in a little bit of this. You use the cap on the top to pour some in. This is how I treat my fish tank. So all my plants get watered with dechlorinated water. This isn't the exact one that I recommend. I can't think of the one that I'm thinking of, but the other one is specifically for removing chlorine. This one does a similar thing, but I think I ran out, so I've been using this recently, and my fish are fine, by the way. If I find the one I'm looking for, again, I will link that in the description so you guys can have everything that you need for healthy plants. But I actually learned, I used to have this, it was another type of succulent. I don't like succulents that much. I actually find them really difficult to look after. I don't know why, because they're supposed to be the easiest, but I'm just not a fan of them. And it started getting white dots all over the leaves, as if it had like white pimples. And I found out that actually that was from the chlorine that it was being watered with. So you could be damaging your plants without even realizing. So my plants have been on chlorine-free water for like over a year now, and I have definitely seen a difference. I honestly wonder if that's why this was such a slow grower for so many years. You do kind of get to a point with most plants where it seems like they're not doing anything, and then all of a sudden they'll do loads, and something will just switch, like this one. But I think that's pretty much all I have to say about plants. I don't want to sit here and ramble on because I feel really silly. But I hope you've enjoyed watching this. I hope if you have plants in your home, maybe it's helped a little bit. Plants are like one of my passions. I really love being a plant mum. As you guys know, my room is like jungle rainforest themed, so I like to make it feel as much like I'm in a rainforest as possible, because that's what really relaxes me and makes me happy. Yeah, that's my plant collection. I hope you've enjoyed watching this. Please don't forget to get your £5 in if you would like a chance to win this. The winner will be announced on the 1st of May. Help! And best of luck to everyone who enters. I've got my fingers crossed for you. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and I will see you in the next video. Bye! Kisses!